Hello students, this is me Saurav Baroy. I am making this video lecture for the students of class 5 for the subject of social science. This video is on the chapter the United Nations. In this video we're going to learn about the different organs of the United Nations. Now students, in the previous video we discussed about the introduction of the chapter, then we also discussed about the different United Nations, why it was the necessary for the formation. Then we also talked about the First World War, that was fought, then the Second World War, and then we also talked about the birth of the United Nations, that means how United Nations came into existence. After that we also talked about the objectives of the United Nations, that is what was the main objective behind the formation, which is to maintain international peace and security among all the member states and settle all disputes peacefully. That is the main and foremost objective of the United Nations. Then we also talked about the principles of the United Nations by which every member state should abide by. So we also talked about the major organs of the United Nations. So today we're gonna discuss about these organs here in this particular video. Starting from the General Assembly, what is it? It is the most important organ of the United Nations, and it is the main body, because it you can just take the relate it to an world parliament like situation, because every member country that even has a total of 193 member countries. So there are there is one representative for each of these countries. So approximately there are 193 members in this particular General Assembly. So it is like a world parliament, and this General Assembly meets at least one time in a year. Okay, and from out of this 193 representatives, one person is selected, and this person is made the president of General Assembly. Now next one is Security Council. This Security Council has 10 temporary members and 5 permanent members. The 5 permanent members are USA, Russia, France, China, England. These 5 countries are the permanent members. This means they will remain here in this council forever. And what is the primary duty is to maintain peace and security among various nations. So this is the primary objective or duty of Security Council. Now we have Economic and Social Council. As the name suggests, students, it is about economy. Economy means money, and social means related to society. So this particular council or organ of the United Nations has 18 members. And what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this council is to carry out the objectives of the UN in the fields of education, social upliftment, health, culture, economic aid, etc. And this World Health Organization, that is recently in news, as you may have observed, especially after the imposition of the lockdown and this COVID-19 situation, this particular organization is in news always, all the time. So this is also an agency of this particular organ, which is Economic and Social Council. Then next one is International Court of Justice. Students, you may have seen the district court in the district. Again, if you talk about the state, then we have a high court, which is known as HC. In a particular country, we have the highest court is generally the Supreme Court. So these are the courts. If someone has a dispute within the country, the person can go and fight in these courts. But what if two countries have disputes? If two countries have to fight in a court of law, where will they go? So in order to provide a space for the countries to fight their cases, this course has been created, which is the International Court of Justice. Now what it deals with the disputes between the member nations and settle them peacefully according to international law. And how many judges are there? There are 15 judges elected from different countries. Actually, they are elected by generally the member states, and this is at Peace Palace, Hague. in Netherlands. So this court is situated at this particular place, and this is the headquarters of the International Court of Justice. Okay. Next question. Next is secretariats. And students, in order to maintain the day-to-day work of the United Nations, a body has been formed, and this body is known as the Secretariat, which is the administrative organ of the United States, and this carries out the day-to-day works of the organization. The General Secretary or the Secretary General is the head of the Secretariat, and this person is appointed by the General Assembly for a term of 5 years. This means once the General Secretary is elected, the person will remain in office for 5 years. Okay, and this Secretary General is the most powerful of all in the United Nations. Okay. Next is the membership and the official language. Now, who can become a member of the United Nations? The answer is any country which is peace-loving nation. This means which does not engage in war, which does not want to engage in a war or fight with another nations. At present, there are a total of 193 member states, and it is the duty of the member countries to cooperate with the United Nations in achieving its goals, specifically maintaining peace and security among nations. We have discussed about this in the principles of the United Nations. Students, every country that is trying to join or has joined United Nations must abide by those principles, and this becomes the duty of the member states to follow those principles. Now, this United Nations organization, it has 6 major languages as these official languages as official, and they are, the first one goes without saying, it is English, then French, Russian, Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. So these are the 6 major official languages of the United Nations. So with this, students, we have come to an end of this chapter. Hope you like the explanation of the video. In case of any doubt, you can surely ask me in the comment section or in the WhatsApp group if you are there in the WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you.